In the heart of America, in a small town known for its calm and everyday life, the unsuspecting Andy Petro will be faced with a challenge no one would want to experience. At only 18 years old, fate confronts him with an ordeal that would not only change his life, but open the doors to a new and unexplored dimension of existence. At this critical moment in his life, Andy Petro steps on the line between life and death, revealing secrets to him that few have had the chance to understand. His near-death experience not only brings him face to face with death, but also opens the door to a world filled with light, love, and endless possibilities. An accident transforms his ordinary existence into a life filled with meaning and dedication to uncovering life's great mysteries. But what exactly did Andy see on the other side? How did this experience change his perspective on life and death? And how was he able to turn his experiences and discoveries into a message of hope and inspiration for so many others? We are about to find out in this video. In 1955, a few days before high school graduation, Andy Petro went on his picnic with his classmates. It was a beautiful day, and the youngsters were having fun by the lake. Despite the cold waters, Andy was determined to take the plunge. He didn't realize at the time that this seemingly innocent decision would change his life forever. He steeled himself and jumped into the cold lake, but upon reaching the bottom, he became entangled in the vegetation and mud there. At that moment, he felt the cold envelop him. Andy began to struggle, but despite his good swimming skills, he could feel the water seemingly press him even harder against the bottom. When they noticed that he wasn't surfacing, his friends from the shore began to worry. Despite their many attempts to help him, they were unable to find him. At one point, everything became quiet and disappeared into the waters of the lake, the desperate cries of his friends tearing the silence of nature. At that moment, Petro heard a voice telling him to relax and let go. And he replied, "No, I can't. I need to get out. I need a breath of air. That's all I need." Then the voice in his head said, "No, Andy. You need to relax. You need to stop. You need to relax." Then Andy said to the voice in his head, "Okay, I'll relax. But do you promise I'll be able to breathe?" "I promise everything will be okay," the voice replied. After surrendering, Andy experienced something extraordinary. He found himself in an absolute new dimension of existence. From his first awareness of this extraordinary journey, he felt that he was in a state of out-of-body experience. He was above his own body and could see and hear everything around him. He then entered a black tunnel with a bright light at the end. Immediately, he felt overwhelmed with warmth and joy, freedom, happiness, and unconditional love. I was in another place, a place where everything was full of light and warmth. I was not alone. A beautiful figure met me and guided me through the corridors of light of this new dimension, Andy recalls. In that moment, all his fears and anxieties disappeared, and he experienced a deep sense of peace and acceptance. Once he crossed over to the other side, he experienced a life review in which he saw all of his lives simultaneously, individually, without blame or judgment. Having been absorbed by the light, he knew everything there is to know about existence and the universe. Although he felt at one with the light, Andy still retained his unique personality. In this state of oneness, he and the light talked, laughed, played, and enjoyed each other's company. Everything around him seemed different. Time and space had lost their form, felt free and carefree. In this new reality, Andy discovered one by one the answers to the questions that had always plagued him. Every second, this new dimension revealed new truths about existence. I felt like part of something much bigger, something timeless and timeless. I could see how all souls are connected and how each of us is an important part of this big picture. In the corridor lights of this distant dimension, Andy met entities who offered him profound lessons about life and death. They revealed to him the secret of creation and showed him how to live in harmony with himself and the world around him. They showed me that life is a perpetual learning process, that each of us has a special role to play in this cosmic dance. At this point, the light told Andy it was time to come back, but he refused. However, he suddenly found himself on the shore, vomiting water. Having experienced the border between life and death, Petro was no longer the same. The world he knew suddenly seemed too small compared to the endless horizons he found on the other side. As soon as he returned to earthly life, he began to intensely analyze his experience. Questions such as, who am I? What is the meaning of life? And what comes after death? Began to obsess him. If you find the topic interesting, we recommend our video, Proof of Reincarnation, Dorothy 80, the Ancient Egyptian Priestess Reborn. During this experience, Andy became aware of two different versions of himself. He realized that Earth Andy, the person he used to be, was only a small part of this larger self. This Earth Andy lived in a world of limitations, fears, and insecurities. On the other hand, the Andy of light, Light Andy, he discovered during his near-death experience, was free, fearless, and full of infinite love and understanding. Light Andy lived in a world where anything was possible, a world where love and compassion were the basic laws of existence. Petro realized that each person is a microcosm, a reflection of the universe. His reflections led him to understand that we are all connected in this great tangle of life and that every action has an impact on the whole. He realized that we are really much more than we see in the mirror every day. But not everything is as simple as it seems. After his experience, Petro was afraid for a long time to share even with those closest to him what he had experienced at the time of his death. He also fell into a heavy nostalgia for the unconditional love and total knowledge he had felt during the encounter with the light. This in turn motivates him to seek answers and understanding in the material world. He began to turn to various religions, teachings for answers, and interpretations of experiences like his, hoping this would help him understand the context of his experience. He incorporates the practice of meditation and yoga into his routine to expand his consciousness and reach deeper levels of understanding. It wasn't until after nearly 30 years of searching that Petro discovered Dr. Raymond Moody's book and realized he had a name for what had happened to him: the death experience. This led him to further research and understanding of the experience. Although at first he was hesitant to share his story, over time Petro began to talk about his experience in communities such as the International Association for the Study of Near-Death Experiences. This not only helps others understand and cope with similar experiences, but also helps him understand even more about his own. Despite all this, Andy views himself and his existence as an ordinary person who, by chance, experienced death and then returned to Earth. He was able to retain clear memories of everything he experienced while he was Earth dead. Having been forced to return to his earthly body after this unique experience, he was not given any specific instructions, missions, or tasks to share with others regarding what he had learned. Despite everything, Andy sees himself and his existence as an ordinary person who, by chance, experienced death and then returned to Earth. He was able to retain clear memories of everything he experienced while he was Earth dead, having been forced to return to his earthly body after this unique experience. He was not given any specific instructions, missions, or tasks to share with others regarding what he learned. Undoubtedly, however, upon his return from the other side of existence, Andy Petro was transformed. He carries with him the knowledge and insights that need to be shared with the rest of the world. Thus, for himself, he discovered artistic expressions as a way to bring his experiences and reflections to others. Writing became his harbor, the place where he could rethink and re-express everything he had experienced. In the form of poems and essays, Andy began to record his memories, thoughts, feelings, and the lessons he had learned. Each line is a full, deep insight and revelations coming from the world beyond what he knew. Petro reveals the dynamic between the earthly world of limitations and the spiritual world of infinite possibilities. His book, Living in the Light, shares the universal truths he discovered during his near-death experience. It is a journey through the depths of human consciousness and a search for the answers to life's eternal questions. Through his stories, Andy creates a bridge between the earthly and the spiritual, between the visible and the invisible. He shares his experiences in the hope that through them, people will be able to see beyond the superficial phenomena of life and discover the greater meaning behind their existence. Andy Petro has not just experienced the boundary between life and death, he has rediscovered life itself. He has turned his revelations and insights into a message to the world, inspiring people to see truth and live with greater awareness and appreciate for every moment of this wonderful and mysterious life. If you enjoyed this video, support us by subscribing to the channel.